Ever looked at a trading chart and thought, what on earth are all these candles? Don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll actually understand how candlestick charts work. So you'll be able to how to read them and how to actually use them and make better decisions on your trading, right? So like if we look at this, I'm going to be going over this and I'm actually going to be teaching you on how the candlestick actually works and like how to read it, what these stuff actually means, and just make trading much more easier for you. And just in general, especially if you're starting out as a trader and just you're trying to get into trading and see how it is, right? And what I'm actually going to first talk about is a candlestick is just basically a way of to show like price movement. So this just shows the price movement and it shows it at a specific time, right? And every single candle shows four key things, right? So the four key things are, I'll line up right here, price, then it's closing price, right? Then it's, whoops, then it's closing price, then it's the highest price, then it's the lowest price. So these are the four main key concepts when you're learning candlesticks and when you're actually trying to look at it and understand how the market moves, right? So we'll be going over that today and we'll show you how everything works, right? So we're going to talk about how it is, right? So we're going to look at the actual structure and how everything is, right? So we're going to do some labeling here. I forgot to label one thing. We'll just do that right now so it works. Okay. So this is a red candlestick, which means is it's just going downwards in price. As you can see, it goes downwards. So this is what you call a bearish candle, right? So this is a bearish candle, and that means it just goes down in price. That's basically what it means. It just goes down in price. Whoops. Just hate my life sometimes. Right. It goes down in price. Now, what this also means is it opens from the top, from the candle, and it closes on the bottom of the candle, right? So that's basically essentially what it means, and we'll explain what these lines are in a second. We're going to go on to the second characteristic of a candle, and it's the bullish candle, which means it will increase in price. You'll say increase in price, I'll just write go up in price because it's easier for you guys, I guess, to learn, hopefully. And if we look at it right now, the bullish opens from the bottom and closes on the top, but the bearish opens from the top and closes on the bottom. These are the characteristics that you guys should know when you guys are trying to look at candlesticks, right? And now let's look on to what these lines are, so like what these lines are right here, because they probably seem pretty confusing. And these actually are called wicks, right? And wicks basically show you the highest or lowest point of the price which has reached within this set of time frame. As you can see on my time frame right now, it's sitting on the 4 hour. So if we look onto this chart, each candle shows 4 hours worth of price movement. So if you see, right, this big candle which has just went up, that shows that this candle has went up like for the full entire duration of the 4 hours. It's went down here from this wick, as you can see, right? So I'll just outline it. This wick right here, right, it shows you that it was here at the lowest point of the price on this candle, right? And you can see that really small wick, and that shows that it was at the highest point of that candle, right? The highest point of price action. Okay, now since we've got that done, right, we're actually just going to look on to how to actually interpret this, right? Because some people actually overcomplicate it. So like, like how if you've probably heard of like different traders, they say, oh, this is like some like turtle soup turtleneck thing, or like you're gonna like look at the candles and observe it and remember like this is like some turtle soup, it's gonna go up in price action. You don't really need to know that. I think what you should learn is like dojis. So basically dojis is these, right? I've specifically like outlined them, or like I've named them. So if you search them up, right, like a long leg doji, that's a long leg doji right here. That's a cross doji, that's an inverted cross doji, and that's a hammer doji, right? So if you like learn these specific things, like you could search them up online, or like you could go on to it like a cheat sheet or whatever. You can look at them and see how, what specific patterns shows you in price movements. That's the only thing I want you to look at in terms of remembering price movements of stuff, because there's so much like brain damaging stuff like you need to like learn when you try and remember stuff, I guess, in trading, or when you first look at it. It just looks like gargle. Like you don't want to just like look at that, and when you look up stuff and you just like look some like let me just like show you as an example, right? Let me type up like brain cells like 2 seconds in. You're gonna sit and tell me, right, as a trader, you learn like stuff like this hanging man. That's pretty that's I don't know. Like you're gonna tell me you're gonna look at this and think this is a shooting star, right? Oh my god, that's insane, mate. No, you're gonna be able to actually need to understand how the candles work, right? If you understand how the candles work and actually what they tell you, you're gonna make moves in the market, which will be way more useful than to what you don't know. Because the stuff that I see when traders start off and they actually like make it through and try to become profitable, there's just so much gargle and there's just so much yap, and I'm sitting there like, how do you actually like live like that knowing you've just like remembered so much yap? And like, I don't know, I don't understand that personally. That's just me from my trading experience anyway. And the aim for this like entire boot camp thing, or like me teaching you, is just so like I can help people, or I can teach people what I know from trading, and they can become profitable, or hopefully they become profitable. You don't have to obviously follow my advice. You can follow like TGR's advice, or like follow anyone else's advice like ICT or whatever. But this is just for like the simple basic confluences that you guys want to just learn easily, because I'm just compressing everything in the one video, because that's just the type of person that I am. I don't really do that type of stuff. And okay, I'm gonna actually quickly go over something. The way that I look at candlesticks is, right, that they are powerful because they don't also just show numbers, right? They don't also just show numbers. They also tell a market about the story in terms of psychology. Was there any strong pressure like in buying? So like if we look over here, right, was there any strong pressure in buying? Like if we look at this, right, let me just place this down. If we look right here, I've just circled that. You can see that's a doji, right? And 1 second. Oh, apologies, guys. I'm just doing something. All right. So, do you see how I just circled that, and you see that green bullish candle, right? But that looks pretty odd, right? And we just spotted it out right here. So it was like right here. Yeah. Long leg doji. So if you look at it right here, right? Long leg doji right here. And let's look at this, right? There's rejection for bullish, right? But there's also rejection for bearish. Now this shows you that this was at the highest point of price action on this candle, right? Which that also means that there is more pressure when it comes to buying, right? Because it's rejected, it showed you the doji, and due to that, there's more resistance happening for bullish. That means it's going to go down onto the bearish side, right? Because that's just how the market works sometimes. It works as it's intended to, and they give you signs like that. That's why candlesticks are so important when you're trying to look at the market. As well as just like, if you question yourself, right? Did sellers push the price down? Can a single candle actually reveal a lot? Yes, it can indeed. It reveals a lot about price action, right? So like, look, a hammer has happened here. Price action is going to shift upwards, right? Like, look, a hammer has happened here. Let me just go back onto my drawing. Beautiful drawings right here. A hammer has happened, right? That means price action is actually going to move upwards. They tell you a story. You don't just like sit and look at a candle and be like, oh, I see a candle, this is at the price. No, they tell you a story. It's all about the psychology of how you interpret candles. Okay, we've went over today of the visuals and the breakdown of how candles actually work. So I've went over on when they open and close, they go up in price. I've went over wicks. I've went over, actually we'll go over that now. Okay, so we're gonna go over highs and lows, right? of the actual candles. So this is the high and this is the low of the candle, right? That's basically all you need to know in terms of like the highs and lows of candles. Now, if we look at it properly, right, in this structure, this was the highest point of the structure, and this was like the lowest point right here of the structure. Do you see that, right? This is the highest point. This was the lowest point, right? Do you see that? Now, this just will interpret in the next video will I'll make. It'll be based on like trends and stuff. But for you guys need to know, you just need to stick to it. This is the highest point on this candle, lowest point on this candle. These are just wicks. For bullish candle, they open from the top and they close on they open from the bottom, sorry, and they close on the top. And then for bearish candle, they open from the top and they close on the bottom. And as a state again, wicks show the highest or lowest point that price is reached. Okay, and the four main key points of candlesticks is they show you price, they give you a closing price, they show you the highest price and the lowest priced. Okay, that's basically with what I'm trying to get at with you guys. And I'm just also trying to give you the truth here, because candlesticks patterns also are not basically like a magic signal whether you buy or sell. They always need context in terms of trend and direction, like support, resistance, and volume, which we're going to get into within the next sort of videos that I'll be posting, right? And it'll give you a clearer picture, right? Like a puzzle. You'll get the clearer picture as you start going through these videos and actually studying it and everything like that, right? And what I also wanted to go over was common beginner mistakes, because this is where it gets a bit iffy in terms of when you're trying to start, right? So the common beginner mistakes, right, is memorizing every pattern and just trading because you just see one candle, or you ignore the bigger picture. Stick to a few simple patterns and combine them with the market's contexts, right? So we'll go into that more in depth when I post more videos, but that's just what you need to know, right? And obviously I've just went over that pretty shortly. If you want to, you can go ahead and comment, or I'll go into depth when I post something. So basically what I'll do is, right, I'll send a link on the description, and it'll be like a Telegram group, right? And what you can do is you can ask questions, or you can just like type questions in that Telegram group, and I'll try and answer that as quick as possible for you guys if you have any. You guys don't need to follow this advice, by the way. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just teaching from what I have done to become profitable, or this is what I've learned when becoming profitable. So we've obviously reached at the end of the video, and now you actually should be able to have a sense or some sort of like direction in terms of how to read candles and just spot basic patterns in the actual market, right? And just, I'm gonna try and post more trading tutorials, and try and comment if any questions or any critiques that you guys can give me in feedback, so I can obviously become better at posting this stuff, because obviously I'm not very good at this, and I'm trying to become better so you guys can also learn. And I'm going to try and make a community one day that everyone can just try and, get, like, become good friends with each other, and, try and learn how to trade and become profitable. Because as you may not know, I am a signal provider, so I post signals on my Telegram group. I have a 98% win rate on my trades so far in terms of posting signals, but for the past 2 days, I do got to admit the market has gotten to me, which I have reset. I'm recalibrating in terms of posting signals again, and I'm going to get back at it, going crazy with the market. So over the next few days and weeks, I will be posting videos weekly, if not daily. We'll see how it goes, and you guys should be able to get a grasp of trading and learn from it. All right. So peace out. You all have a good one. I'll see you in the next